Hello, everyone. We had a slight delay, and I believe I'm the cause, but we are back. We're happy to be back here. Now, in this particular domain, we're going to talk about remote work and education. So there's going to be quite a bit of that. Now, let me check. All right, Antonio, we have a raised hand, if I'm not mistaken. Antonio. Now, somebody in the particular organizing team, Yeva or Maxime, can we give a voice to Antonio, one of our common folks who is asking questions, if I'm not mistaken? Antonio, if you could unmute your microphone, you may speak very quickly. Antonio. It seems your mic is muted, but your hand is raised, so we're going to ignore this for now. We are about to start our session. Our next speaker. Now, we're going to skip for now the planned talk on an investor side, right? We had a last minute cancellation. Apparently, they're negotiating a deal, so that's pretty cool. That's the life of VC. But what we do have is our next, well, presenter on the company side. His name is Stefano. Now, Stefano represents a company called AI Learning, and they have a team of 7. And Stefano, in this context, he's, well, I had the privilege of talking to him several times before the session, during the selection process. So I felt like stepping in the same shoes I would normally have with more mature founders and accelerators, but at the same time giving some very good basic advice. Now, Stefano, are you ready to give us a rundown of your pitch? Are you ready to pitch, man? Excellent.
Yes,
Can we set up the slide deck and I'll set up a little timer?
Sure. Let me take this slide deck.
And an uno, and dos, and tres. Let's do it.
Thank you, Gleb, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm Stefano Marinoni. I'm the Chief Operational Officer of AI Learning. We studied the impact of coronavirus on the educational system. Remote exams remain a big question mark. Our survey to students reported different problems. The main are waste of time, lack of complete platforms, and many others. The answer, AI Learning. All-in-one software platform to simplify and improve execution and evaluation for all exam types, driven, of course, by artificial intelligence. How does it work? Let me introduce you Mr. White, the teacher. Thanks to AI Learning, Mr. White can in real time create the exam, visualize identity check result, monitor the students with a live stream, and review the evaluation provided by artificial intelligence. Now let's talk about Jesse, the student. Jesse can perform all types of exams, oral, written with formulas. Thanks to the live chat, he can have support from the teacher in real time. Yeah, but how does it is possible this? Brain behind is, of course, the artificial intelligence. One, the speech-to-text model for the oral examination. The natural language processing will evaluate each answer, comparing with the model provided by the teacher. At the end, the deep learning algorithm for the vocal and face recognition to verify the student identity. In the market, AI Learning is unique because it's an all-in-one software platform compared to the others. Considering only the European public educational system, our market value is around 370 million, but we are not considering all the other markets and the sectors in which AI Learning could be used. We proposed a B2b subscription plan, and the school can pay €3 per student, while universities 49 per teacher. After only 3 weeks from the hackathon, we have been able to establish some institutional and commercial partnerships. What are the next steps? In July, we want to develop and deliver an MVP ready to be tested by 2 pilot universities that we have already spoken with and we have already identified. In 4 months, we will go live, ready for the September exam session. And then, once on the market, we want to scale up rapidly in order for December 2021 to overcome the break-even. Who we are We are an amazing team of professionals with multidisciplinary competencies, on average between 5 to 7 years of experience. We already work together, some of us 4 years in Alten, Accenture, and other consultancy company, and we have a lot of experience in business, product development, and research. Stay online and feel the distance with AI learning. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Stefano. We were nicely on time. This is very good. Now, people in the chat and our lovely Q&A. This is a new, fresh sheet, and we're still getting engaged. Now, Antonio, thank you for coming back to us. You do have an ability to actually ask questions verbally now, if I'm not mistaken. If you're, of course, up for it, if you want to be the silent voice from the chat and I verbalize you, I'm happy to do it. But I think you, Antonio, you're able to speak now, unless you're not able to unmute your microphone. Just let me know. But in the meantime, I will verbalize your question, unless you stop me. When you say natural language processing, if I got this right?
Yes.
What is the transformer are you applying to evaluate the answers? So it's a bit of a technical question.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, for the first prototype we have developed during the hackathon, we established a model comparing which are the correct answers and which should be the answer provided by the student. So doing this test, we provided a matrix, and we are able to support an accuracy in order to establish which is the correct answer. Of course, it's the first prototype, and we have to do a lot of research and development in 2 months, but is a great result for now.
Thank you very much on that. Can you tell me a bit more about your team? Now, I'd love to hear more how potentially you have interdisciplinary skills and you're working together.
Sure.
Give me something underneath the hood, please.
Yeah, for sure. We have in the team, we have 3 software and hardware developers that they have competencies on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science. As well, they have also some skills in software development, and they have experience as project managers, scrum master, and leading some teams. On the other side, we have commercial, marketing, and legal competencies. On my side, I did startup. I work for Accenture and Alten. Now I'm leading a team of 25. We have another on the commercial side that is the CEO of a company. And we have also legal and graphic support as well as marketing. So this is the multidisciplinary.
In regards to your particular vision, one of the common questions I get is the vision big enough? Is the vision big enough?
Totally.
What investors generally kind of get at is, will the founder grow the business to 100 mil plus scale and in the next 7-10 years, and depends, of course, on the market size. If you have a minuscule market, of course, you're not going to go there. But I'm trying to understand, what is your ambition, Stefano?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about in an economic.
Yeah, definitely,
sense.
definitely.
Okay.
So I got your point, and thank you for the question, Gleb, and for the audience. Basically, our vision is more than just resolving the problem of the examination. The examination, of course, is the main problem, is the main issue of the coronavirus in the educational system. We are not targeting for the moment the private system and the private companies. We want to do it in the second year, but our vision really is to allow and take advantage of this high learning to give the opportunity to all the people to exploit the education. So let me give you an example. There is one guy from the south of Italy. He needs to go in the north of Italy to study. He doesn't have the economical funding. With the examination online and with the online lesson, he can do that. So our vision for the future, it's really to disrupt the educational system and let it accessible to all the people.
Stefano, I thank you. And on this note, we're getting ready to transition to our next speaker, our next presenter. Her name is Valentina. Now,
thank you,
Stefano, grazie. Valentina is, well, she holds a patent. And she is a professor of human anatomy. Now, she knows a lot more about the human body that you and I, and in many cases. I grew up as a kid looking at, well, medical literature. It's a weird case. So I have a lot of books on anatomy that I still have on my bookshelf. And partially it was because of my biological mom, but also because of my medical parents. So in this context, Valentina,
Yes,
I'm looking
here we are.
forward to your 3-minute pitch. I will start timing you, and I would love to see what your business is all about. It's your show. 3 minutes. Let's do it.
Hi, my name is Valentina and I'm a scientist. I'm here to introduce you Dynamic, the solution to maintain social distances within universities during the coronavirus emergency. Have you been to the universities during the lockdown or to a research laboratory? Our classrooms are empty and our research laboratories are almost closed. Not all jobs can be done remotely, and we need to perform our scientific research in our research laboratories. Profit exams, degrees, internship activities cannot be done online. We want to come back, maintaining the social distances. This is our market. In the world, there are more than 13,000 universities. In Europe, more than 2,000 universities, and in Italy, there are about 100. The solution is Dynamic Row, the first web app able to manage the space in the research laboratories and in the classrooms of the universities. You can use it also in museums and libraries, or whenever you need to manage the space. You just need your mobile phone and to frame the QR code. It is easy to use, it's cheap, and will save our lives. If we get the 3% of European universities, we will earn more than 200,000 euros per year. We will have less new infections and will improve laboratory frequency. Our system can be scaled up, can interface with university apps, and it will be connected to an IoT system for automatic access control. Dynamic also is cheap, and with it you can manage several rooms within a university. We will have a consent only on a voluntary basis, and we will retain only necessary data. This is our team, Giorgio, Dario, German, and me from Italy, and Felipe from Portugal. These are our mentors. Francesca is a designer, Oilam is a Google mentor, and Luciano is our senior developer. Our business model is a B2b. We will have a free product for students, staff, and customers, and we will have a premium product on the market for universities, industries, and SME. Believe me, this is a solution for every business. This is a queue outside the bank in Rome. We have got our first product and we will test it in our university, at the University of Palermo, within 2 weeks. And we will go to the market within 4 weeks, we hope. I think this is a solution for every business, really, and also for shops and their customers. If you liked it, please contact me.
Thank you. You're on time, Valentina. This is really good. I appreciate it. Grazie. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I do not have the gestures of the Italians. I have my own. So, but I admire the fluency. Now, Valentina, I'm going to ask you a question. And if there's somebody who asked something during the Q&A and deleted it, just let me know and post it again. I cannot see the Q&As. What I can see, though, is the chat. So you can leave a particular question for Valentina in the chat. I am closely paying attention to it. In the meantime, Valentina, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Specifically, you work with universities in a basic sense, right? And this has to do with labs and research, and people need to do research and they cannot do research. And so they need an application to essentially check in and enter the facility, if I got this right.
Yes, also to manage the space, because usually in a research laboratory, we have about 20 people working, and now they can enter only 2, 3 per laboratory. There is a great reduction of space for us in the laboratory, and this means for people not to do the experiments, because our experiments last 1 week.
1 week?
Yes.
I see. Now, I understand this is definitely a need and a pain that you know personally, but you also, your colleagues across universities in Europe, right, all around need this. So I
All
get it.
around, yes, all around.
Let's say we, in fact, get this under control, whatever circumstance we have. And we talk about the business sustainability of this, right? Because you want to build, well, this is essentially software, if I got this right, predominantly, with maybe a hardware component.
We have not thought about this at the moment. We just have a web app, but we think that we can use it also later because we are thinking about a management of the space in universities and the research laboratories that usually we do by hand. We have got a sheet of paper outside the laboratory with the names wrote on it. In this manner, we can manage a space even from home, and we don't need to get there. And also students and PhD students and fellowship can manage their space, their time, also from home, even after the emergency.
And in this context, Valentina, what I'm trying to gauge is what gets you excited in the context of the future growth potential of your business. It is a bit of a nice question, but in the same time, I'm trying to understand. I'm estimating, I'm analyzing, and I'm trying to figure out, Valentina, what your long-term vision is and why are you potentially excited about it? Because right now I'm on the fence. I'm trying to figure it out. Help me out.
We want to improve, of course, our system, and we decided to integrate our system with the IT systems, with the recognition of people when they get in and get out from the laboratories. But as I told you, management of students in university is a problem, even for the exams. It's not only a problem for the emergency. When I do an exam only for one day, I've got 80 people. And I have to manage 80 people in a very small room. This is a problem not for me, but also for other people. So we think that this app, if used now, would be used also in the future. And so we want to build our business from now. And of course, we'll improve the system with the IT systems, with the artificial intelligence and whatever. We found also the partners in our Mashton that will help us in improving our system. Our system.
It's all good. It's all good. Valentina, grazie. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for explaining it to me in some basic terms. And I understand that you're going to having more partnerships during the matchathon. So you're going to be speaking to people. You're going to be engaged with them. So thank you for doing your pitch, Valentina.
Thank you
grazie.
too. Thank
No
you, Glad.
biggie. No biggie, no biggie. Our next speaker in the remote working and education category is a speaker that is very, very fluent in multiple languages. And I think she has worked in China, if I'm not mistaken. Her company, her specific company in this context is Smart Coach for Resilience. It's software, it's in the software category. And Elena, so we have a different Elena in this context. Are you ready to show us a pitch deck and talk to us?
Hi, everyone. Yes, I am.
Understood. Now I'm going to set up a little timer and it's going to
Yeah, 1 second. Oh, let me just get the page. Sorry. Yeah.
I see. Well, ladies and gentlemen of the chat, please use the Q&A feature as much as you can. I will be keeping track of it. If you happen to be listening in a live environment of Facebook, leave a comment either in Slido or leave a comment directly underneath this feed. I've been once in a while looking at the particular live stream in Facebook because we're a minute or two behind. I cannot always take the questions from there. So please, as much as you can, feed it to us. So Yeva, maybe Maxime can throw some questions my way, but keep in mind we're slightly behind in regards to Facebook for a couple of minutes, not too much. So founders, there's quite a few comments. In the Facebook stream. And in fact, I think at least one angel investors were paying attention there. Understood. Are we ready, Elena?
Yes, I am.
Very good. I'm going to set up my timer right now and it's your show. Let's do it.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm happy to introduce you to our Smart Coach for Resilience. The coronavirus pandemic is leading to a series of anxiety and fears, which generate stress in those who are forced to quarantine and observe social distancing. Neil Greenberg, Professor of Defense of Mental Health of the Institute of Psychiatry, Psychology and Neuroscience of King's College London, says that quarantine could create frustration and distress in people, but no long-term difficulties, especially if it's managed well. If we look at the figures in terms of freelancers and professionals who have been forced to work remotely in this period only in Europe, we are talking about a total of more than 80 million people who would have experienced anxiety and stress as common sensations. Smart Coach for Resilience is a digital platform created to help people deal with quarantine stress and to plan a routine. We designed it to help people engage in a personal growth routine scheme to better face stressful situations and the new remote working scenario. So step 1 is to take the test and receive your profile on your resilience level. Step 2 is to wait for personalized suggestions. And step 3 is to make use of the content in order to strengthen your resilience. We already have a partnership in place with Skylab, a cloud-based solutions company part of Team System. And the first major step for the positioning of the Smart Coach for Resilience in the B2b market will be the adoption of the tool in Skylab's internal learning management system platform, to which have access to over 300,000 employees and 1.5 million freelancers. Our business model differentiates between a B2B and a B2C approach. The B2B model is based on direct sales and potential partnership programs. It is a pay-per-use model for those companies who want to offer personal development trainings to their employees. The B2C model we are putting in place is a freemium service with the possibility to activate at the end of the email journey a connection with professional coach. The team whose work on the Smart Coach for Resilience is composed of 6 people, myself, Pietro, Christian, Andrea, Simone, and Francesca, representing a great variety of skills and past experiences, which have all contributed to the realization of the final product. We launched our product as an MVP, and the next step has been to present it to the corporate clients as a B2B service. We're currently working on our API technology development to facilitate the integration of the tool into third-party systems, and we're exploring other channels to launch the B2C model in a time frame of 3 months. Therefore, we're currently looking for investors, potential customers, and partners who share our vision and believe in the importance of helping people to train their soft skills and their resilience. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. A nice clean buffer, around 10 seconds or so. Helena, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, we have an immediate question from our particular audience. I'm going to give it specifically right now. So congrats on the first traction, Helena. So some congratulations. What sets you apart? Now getting ready. So what sets you apart? It's a bit of a prevention question, if you recall the theory, from other mental health solutions targeting employees of medium, large to large companies. So sets you apart. So traction's good, but I think the way I interpret it here is that our lovely investor wants to know the differentiation.
Of course.
Your secret sauce and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, just one thing we just wanted to make clear that, of course, I mean, we don't really want to talk too much about mental health in this case because we're going into the clinical sector. So what we do, like our core business is analysis of soft skills. So that's everything is about soft skills. So resilience in the sense of, resilience itself. So grit, perseverance, and how to manage stress in terms of soft skills and nothing to do with clinical or psychiatry, let's say. So what we want to do is like to help people find like a self-development path even during this period of crisis. So leverage on what are their strengths in terms of soft skills, find the area of development, and then work on themselves so they can improve themselves in their personal life. And of course, I mean, this is specifically targeted for remote workers.
Understood. Now, I believe this was answered live now to a degree. I'm going to follow up on that a little bit. Yeah. The differentiation here is not just topic-wise and who you help with, but maybe some of your engine, your software, right? Your software. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you're the COO of Jabiri, if I got this right?
CCO. I look after the business development commercial part of the business, yeah.
I see. So you're a biz dev in a way.
Yeah, sales, business development. Mm-hmm.
Understood. And so we talk about the value proposition in the context of your software. Can you tell me a little bit more about this? Because what we're trying to figure out is, hey, crowded market. How are you guys so special, huh?
Yeah. So, sorry, you mean in terms of the technology behind?
Sure.
Yeah.
Anything that sets you apart.
That sets us apart. Sure. Okay. So, well, as you said correctly, we're a software, so a software as a service. So that's how we work. And the beauty of our product is the possibility to work with companies, with professionals, so individuals as well. Also like recruitment agencies, business partners. Like really, we can interact with everyone. We do it on a white label basis. So when we work, for example, with a partner, with a corporate, like our solutions is we work via an API exchange on kind of low-level integration. So everything can be customizable. So when we interact with a partner or with a customer, they can just customize our product based on their brand. So in terms of like, their business, that's the beauty of the product. And the simplicity of the integration. So the tool is very easy to use. The reports and all the suggestions, for example, that we give to people are really easy to read, easy to use. You can start like using them straight away. So it's like it's like really highly usable. So that's basically like our main strength. But
Understood.
we're working on the technology development.
You're working on the tech development. I'd suggest if you want to add any additional information, of course, you can comment in the chat. There will be information to your LinkedIn page and the breakout session. We're transitioning to our next speaker. Jelena, thank you very much for telling us more about your business. Let's transition to Margarita. Now, Margarita, hopefully I'm pronouncing the name correctly.
Hi, Gleb.
Hey, good to see you again. Now, you are very, very passionate about, well, she-tech, social entrepreneurship, labor economics. And same time, if I got this right, you're representing Jabiri here.
Yes, yes, indeed. I'm Chief Operating Officer.
Chief Operating Officer, understood. Now, do you have your pitch deck set up?
Yes, just give me 1 second. Share screen.
Very good. And in this context, I remind everybody in the chat and the Q&A to be able to ask questions. Now, Margarita.
Okay. Can you see it full screen?
I can definitely see it full screen. Let's do it.
Okay, great. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm Margherita, Chief Operating Officer at Jabiri. Coronavirus is deeply affecting the real economy and the job market. Some estimates say that unemployment rate could double due to the emergency. And unfortunately, institutions aim at support job seekers, such as universities, employment centers, and even staffing firms. They are struggling to find a sustainable way able to support everyone. But European institutions can embrace Jabiri technology to boost employment services. Our technology can offer new form of support and easier access to information, reaching wider audiences. So Jabiri is the first AI-based digital career advisor able to digitalize employment services. Our solution is an integrated ecosystem of career service tools that connect job seekers, institutions, and companies. If you are a job seeker, Jabiri guides you through your job search journey. The platform provides lessons and practical tools, such as a CV builder, cover letter builder, and video interview training module to maximize your chance to get hired. And our artificial intelligence algorithm can analyze your curriculum in order to give you feedback and suggest you the best job offer for your profile. Of course, the more people we support, the more the algorithm learn in a virtual cycle, continuously improving over time. Job offers are sourced from the main job board worldwide or through our job board. Companies indeed can directly publish job opportunities and attract talent using employer branding tools. If you're instead a private or public organization helping people getting into work, Jobiri helps you to automate your daily activity. It allows you to remotely assist job seekers with video integrated conference tools and to provide remote support, saving time and resources. We are a social enterprise, and our business model is business to institutions and include both private and public organizations, such as universities, employment centers, and HR firms. So institutions pay an annual recurring fee to provide Jobiri to their beneficiaries. But we also opened a B2C segment because we received a lot of requests from job seekers not supported by our partner institutions. We are on the market since September 2017, and today we support 30 institutions and about 55,000 job seekers. In this moment, millions of job seekers require immediate career support. Let's support them together using artificial intelligence technology. Thank you for your attention.
All righty. Nice and sharp. Couple of seconds left to spare. Margarita,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate when people are, all right, we're all human beings and sometimes it takes a bit of time. Speaking of time, please take the time to formulate questions in the chat or the Q&A. I always have my watchful hawk gaze on those questions.
Okay.
Now, Margarita, though, what I'm very, very interested in is making sure that even your executive team, and so you're part of the CEO, right? But your CEOs, your CTO,
sure,
are considering this particular expansion, so growth of your business on a global scale. And so I'm going to ask you a few potential questions around that while the chat is formulating theirs. So Margarita, you as operations essentially, what is your particular focus in terms of growth of your business when it comes down to pan-European and global?
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, by the next 5 years, we aim to become the leading provider of artificial intelligence technology in the employment service market. Our platform is already available in Italian, English, and Portuguese, and we already have a first client in Portugal. So our goal for this year is to strengthen our position in Italy, in Portugal, and then to scale in another European country, probably Germany or France.
Thank you. It was a slightly canned answer, but I'll take it. I'll take it, Margarita. I'll take it. In the meantime, we did have a question in the particular chat section, the Q&A section.
Okay.
And I'm going to break it down for you a little bit. All right. So the first part of it is, are you guys integrated? So Jobiri, is it integrated with LinkedIn or similar platforms? So integration is the first part of the question.
We are not integrated to this kind of solutions such as LinkedIn or other job boards. Let me explain step by step. Not with LinkedIn, but we already have a collaboration with one European job board, Daily Internship, maybe you know it. So they can directly publish their job opportunities on our platform. These kind of players are our partner, not competitors. This is a question that sometimes people ask us, but is it LinkedIn your competitor or Monster or indeed these kind of players? The answer is no, they are potentially our partner because our focus is the candidate. We use a candidate-centric approach. We are not focused on companies. Of course, we could work on this field. We have a job board and we will further develop it because it could be another source of revenue, but our focus at the moment are the candidate.
If we talk about those, let's say this internship platform, like one of your larger partners, the second part of the question had to do with data and APIs. Are you able to tap into their API data and make use of it?
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry I can't go maybe so deeply in answer this kind of question because I'm not a developer, but our platform is really has the potential to be highly personalized and to connect with other platform, other providers. We already did it because when we collaborate with public institutions such as universities, youth employment centers, they already have their database, maybe their job board, etc. So everything is being made to dialogate.
I believe our chat starts smelling blood, so they're going after the tech, Margarita. They're sensing. She's dodging the API question. Let's go after AI. So they're a little sharky now. You getting ready?
Okay.
All right. When you said AI, right, are we talking about a machine learning algorithm, right? It's a common issue. People don't know what the term means. You know, back in the day, people call AI, well, a simple regression algorithm, right? And that would be an unfortunate, it's
I'm going to
marketing.
explain that.
Okay, so that's the comment in chat, and I'll quickly clarify this with the other part of the same question. This is from Antonio. Antonio, thank you for asking these questions. I love it. So what is essentially the tech you're using? Go a little deeper. That's the essence of it, because he wants to see more. He wants to see what's under the hood.
Sure.
Margarita.
So our algorithms collect job posting from job board. So they extract information such as hard skills, soft skills, expected salary, expertise. And these data are normalized and put in categories. Then these information are matched with the curriculum of the candidate. And from the comparison, the algorithm identify your professional role and can give you feedback, such as, okay, you are missing these skills that is required for your professional profile. Of course, also grammar errors, or for example, if you didn't explain some skills, and give you this kind of feedback.
Margarita, I'm going to give you one more shot before we break out into the breakout session. Sure. It seems you're definitely giving an answer, but something tells me it's not good enough. Think of it in my sixth sense. I understand the categorization. I understand. What is the tech you guys are using? Right? Do you have a proprietary algorithm that you developed? Maybe you have somebody on the team who has the background, 15 years, 20 years of developing these kind of things, any know-how that is proprietary that you have that might set you apart. And this is super interesting. So we're actually giving you a chance to talk about some of the best stuff you have about your tech, but also understanding how deep do you go. One more take, and then we'll transition to networking.
Okay, so I'm not a developer, so I'm really sorry that I can maybe provide you all this detail, but my colleague in the one-to-one session will answer to all your question. Anyway, our CTO, he has more than 10 years in machine learning and cybersecurity. He has a lot of experience. He worked with multinational companies, and he won several national and international research awards for his studies on machine learning algorithms. So I'm not probably the best person to talk about it, but for sure,
all good.
He will answer to your question.
But you seemingly have a very experienced person on the team, 10 years in this particular field. So Antonio, I think if you go to the breakout session, you can ask these very direct questions, and I think they have something there, and I think they can definitely talk about it. But thank you very much for the session. We're transitioning to networking now. So people like Antonio or Seam, for instance, and quite a few others are able to ask you stuff. Guys, Margarita, thank you very much for representing Jabiri. Thank you very much. This concludes our remote working and education particular domain, this particular part. When we come back, we will have the social and political cohesion, and we'll have another investor open the session. Guys, you've been lovely. People who are watching us from Facebook Live, thank you for staying attentive and engaging.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, I'm sorry. There's also this. Are we going to the?
Welcome back. We are live. I'm your lovely MC, or not so lovely, depending which end of my questions you find yourself on. I'm a pitch coach. Been doing it for 10 years. Some would say way too long. And it means that I listen to thousands and thousands of different speeches, both from scientists, people who studies adult stem cells, or microfluidics. Or sometimes they try to figure out a more sustainable way to make cement. So material science PhDs. But the other end, I have scale-ups, founders who are raising A rounds and or seed rounds, maybe looking for 50K, maybe 100K, 200K, 300K, all that stuff. Now I am in this context, I am hosting the demo day, which I and the team of very lovely volunteers, such as Yelena, Marina, Julia, all right, Yeva, Maxime, many of these names you have seen around, but also Andrea and Aurit, who have been evaluating the project with us, have put a lot of effort making sure you guys are ready to pitch and to captive audience investors. Now, Fabiola, are you able to speak with us? Let me double check a little bit.
Hi, Gleb. Actually, I'm going to speak on
Hello.
behalf of Fabiola because she's there, but she's been telling me she has technical difficulties to be able to enter the space. But she sent me her notes. She said that it's not working, but she really wants to share some stuff that she wrote. Well, she didn't write. She was gonna say it, so I'm just gonna say it on her behalf. She's been in here for the last hour and a half, and she's really been enjoying, by the way, all of the pitches and congratulated us for the great thing that we've been doing. And she says that very roughly, that she's an investor, founder of Auxo, first for 12 years in PE, then as an independent business angel. And most of the VCs are white and male. And they found that as a female investors, they evaluate topics differently. So they founded the Auxo last year. And invest in sustainable growth and topics with societal impact, which is also why it was quite relevant for her to start and kick off the domain here, which specifically focuses on social and political cohesion. One area they're interested in is civic tech and government tech topics. And with COVID and the lockdown consequences, social and political cohesion, in her opinion, has become one of the most important challenges we are facing as society. Oh, you made it, Fabiola, you're there. Oh, I can see her now, but I think she's frozen. But that's Fabiola. Oh, Fabiola, hi. We can't hear you. Can you hear her? No, we can't hear you.
But you can wave. We can do.
Oh, we can at least see you.
Hello, Fabiola.
Thanks. Well, I will continue. Maybe I can try to unmute you because I see that you're muted. No, it's not. That's not it. Okay, I will continue then speaking on your behalf, and then we can at least see you. All right. You took part in Fabiola took part in a political think tank 2 weeks ago, and the aim was to envision scenarios for digital Europe in 2020. To forecast the positive scenario, one of the things everyone agreed on is the need for strong civic tech ideas and companies, the role of technology in finding new ways of citizen participation, new business models with regards to free and high quality media, protecting the vulnerable, prevent misinformation, and filter bubbles. So Fabiola, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's a shame that it's not working to hear you, but at least we managed to have you here to listen to the pitches and to have the chance to hear your thoughts. So thank you from me. Thank you, Fabiola. And now we can kick off the next session, Gleb. Thanks.
No biggie. Thank you very much. Now, Fabiola, what I would love to have, maybe to engage with the teams a little bit more, is to be super active in the Q&A, becoming a power user of the Q&A feature or writing in the chat, because you've been observing us for 1.5 hours. We had a very good opening today with the health and life. We had quite a bit of teams to do with software. Now you have a very special category, social and political cohesion, and you're an experienced business angel. You work in M&A, so any questions you throw the team's way would help them out a great deal, and maybe you'll find something interesting. So I'd love to see your active participation in written form. My name is Gleb, guys, and our next presenter is a man who spent at least 6 years in the gaming industry. His name is Boris. Now, Boris is going to present 8band to us. Now, he also built quite a few digital products. 13 years of that, ladies and gentlemen. 13 years building digital products, 6 years of that in gaming. Now he's applying it to health. So let's see what you got, Boris.
Thank you, Gleb.
The show
Hi.
is yours, man.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone. I'm Boris. I'm founder of 8band, where we help global healthcare via data. Today, a significant amount of healthcare funding around the world comes in the form of donations. Yet there is a significant problem. Data is missing. Information on accessible funding, hospital needs, and available supplies is scarce, is fragmented, and it's often inaccurate. And this costs time, it costs money, and it costs lives. Our online platform narrows this information gap by collecting and distributing data on the three main parts of the healthcare donation chain: what healthcare providers need, what funds are available, what suppliers are available. With the right context, our reliable data unlocks financial value for suppliers and manufacturers, and also makes the chain more effective and efficient for fundraisers and healthcare providers. 8band was born during the crisis hackathons. We are weeks away from our pilot product in Bulgaria, where we are working with local donation campaigns, but we are working towards the global application of our platform. So why is that important? Well, donations and development aid are an important part of healthcare funding for mid and low income countries. And with rising healthcare costs, changing spending patterns, and incoming global recession, reliance on philanthropy and crowdfunding is only increasing. Our data has market value that we're looking to monetize and build a sustainable business in a growing niche. My name is Boris Michov, and I've been building digital products for over a decade. 2 months ago, I left my last company and team of 40 people that I built and managed, and then COVID happened. And that's how 8band started. A team of diverse professionals around Europe are working alongside, and we are looking for your help to build the first platform of its kind and save lives. Thank you.
Boris, my man. Short and sweet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gleb.
Now, Fabiolo and Antonio and Seem and others listening to us in the live stream and beyond. This is the opportunity to ask Boris about his experience, about his product, about his scaling plans, and all the lovely things you want to ask him. Now Fabiolo, all right, she went straight at it. I love it. Now, Boris, there's 2 questions in it, so I'm going to take it piece by piece, right?
Yep.
So the first part of that is, who is the main beneficiary? Let's do it.
There is 2 beneficiaries that we're separating. One are the healthcare providers themselves and donation campaigns for charities and NGOs. And for them, we're building a platform which makes it very easy for them to coordinate their needs and to connect to each other and to coordinate between each other, which is a major problem right now. Now, on the other hand, we are beneficiarying suppliers and manufacturers of medical devices in the beginning, and then expanding list of other products that are looking to find new markets, which are financed via donations and philanthropy.
Now, the second part of that question, Boris, I will take that. How are you collecting the data?
So NGOs are in the beginning our main partner in collecting the data, because they already have the needed connections to healthcare providers and to suppliers. And we're collecting the data from everybody voluntarily, in the sense that NGOs already have inherent value of our platform to share this data with us. And same goes for healthcare suppliers, and same goes for manufacturers. And we're collecting it via a combination of different channels, because we understand that it's a very complex problem, especially when you go into like rural areas and lower middle income countries. So we're prepared to do it via a variety of different ways, ranging from API support from a supplier to picking up the phone and finding a local partner in a rural area.
So quite a few, right? Local supplier, picking up the phone, and tapping into APIs. So several sources of data, and NGOs are key partners in supplying this data to you, if I got this right.
Correct.
Now, there's 2 more questions very quickly. We're a little ahead of schedule, but I'll catch up. Another one is, can you give us an example of a type of transaction that is, or collaboration that's happening through your platform right now? This is a question from Fabiola. She really wants to know an example.
Oh, great question. So we are working with donation campaigns in Bulgaria, but we also were in touch with some in other countries, like in the States. And the reality is that during the current crisis and outside the crisis, actually, a lot of people were trying to help, but because they don't have a unified source of truth about what's needed and about who has it, they're actually duplicating their efforts. And there is a great miscommunication, which leads to, again, like loss of money and loss of time and just inefficiency. And right now we are working with these donation campaigns, so we can provide the source of truth for them. And we are making together teams to collect data so it can be used by all of them on a country level before we actually expand internationally.
There's another or a different question in the Q&A section. And it's one of the staples, right? So keep in mind, I have a data set of 1,500 questions. And there's 7 themes or so that they revolve around. Competition and data happen to be the middle and towards the end of the 7 themes. So you're getting the statistically predictable questions so far. Pretty standard stuff. Who is your competition? An anonymous attendee wants to know.
Another good question. Yeah, so as competition goes, you can put it in several different categories. So for example, governments can be listed as our competition, but we're not competing with governments because we are only focused on donations. So governments are actually our partners that are looking for development aid, and we're circumventing their usual procurement methods that are, governments usually dealing with. They're not focused on donations, usually in most countries. Then you have the big companies like market research companies and companies which are focused on collecting and providing information about pharmaceuticals and about health industry. But again, donation is niche, and they're not that focused around that. And we see that during the current crisis, they couldn't help with the data that was needed. So for them, we're also not that much of a competition, more of a possible partner, or even like an exit strategy down the road. And then there is NGOs and organizations like the World Health Organization even, who are collecting this data, yes, but the difference is that we are not actually collecting money, right? We're only focused on data. We're not collecting charity. We're not trying to be supplying. We're only focused on data. So even for them, we're actually a partner. So there is no direct competition to this specific problem in this specific niche.
Boris. I will take it as an answer. There's one more where you starting in Bulgaria. It's a common question in the Baltic states. Why are you starting in this small little country with a small market? But you can answer that in the chat below to Fabiola directly. Now, Boris, you can improve your competition answer for sure. Instead of, hey, we're not, tell me about the value next time, all right?
Thank you, Gleb.
No biggie. Sophie's getting ready. Sophie, you're the next one up. Now, Sophie she's an experienced business developer in a very, very special field, and has to do with the public sectors, the municipalities in Sweden. And in fact, her latest job is specifically related to it, but she is the CEO of Bright Act. And a Bright Act is a mission-driven company, but very much also a profit-driven one. When I was interviewing and seeing many of the teams, as many as I could, I was impressed by Sophie specifically. She is unstoppable, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't say that lightly because I'm a pretty skeptical man myself. Now, Sophie, that's the kindest intro I think make to a founder. So please, it's your show. 3 minutes. Let's do it.
Yeah. Hi, and thank you so much. I'm going to talk about Bright Act. This is Bright Act. And we're a tech provider for municipalities and NGOs with a scalable model, providing advanced public service platforms for prevention of domestic violence. Where they're supposed to be safe and loved, they are not. During lockdown, they just hope to survive, not because of the virus, but because of the person they love. Today, members of society expect a high level of usability when it comes to services provided to them. The public sector has a long way to go to reach that level. The app for the victims is hidden behind a mock application and delivers support and storage of evidence that holds up in court. It streamlines support chats and help from lawyers and emergency housing. From that, we also aggregate data for municipalities to plan resources and predict rising levels of violence. This is an effective tool for municipalities and authorities to follow up and work with strategy and prevention of domestic violence as well as trafficking. It is estimated that 29 million women are subjected to violence in the EU yearly. And that's just the women. Men rarely report today, but we can change that. Not only in Europe, but in the world. Right now, we're setting up a pilot in a municipality in Sweden with 130 inhabitants. Age estimates the cost spent on this problem to be 109 billion euros in EU per year. We want to streamline and distribute those funds. There has been apps dealing with this issue before, but not to this extent, and not with governmental involvement. We feel a huge gap in societal support that we can bridge with Bright Act. My experience working in IT management, as well as sales and purchase to and for the public sector, tells me that municipalities are going to pay to get access to this platform. Combined with Eleanor's background of user experience and social impact products, give her the insight on how to build our product to support users in distress. We are collaborating with NGOs active in 120 countries. The NGOs would provide free content and lead traffic to the app. It's like Amazon for NGOs and municipalities. We're going to release the app as a freemium model to start the data collection to onboard the municipalities. We already received funding for development of an educational module from an NGO, and one of our experts is also advising the Council of Europe in domestic violence issues. We estimate to be market ready in 4 to 6 weeks, and we're asking for a 500,000 euro investment to support our team launch in Scandinavia. And we are also looking for municipalities to pilot in Europe. We seek investors who want to create equality in Europe and elevate the level of service provided to the society. Thank you.
Thank you. You are on 250, Sophie. Very good. You had a nice clean buffer. You've done it well. Measured pace and clean slides that passed the glance test. Thank you. Thank you. Now, one of the anonymous attendees is going straight for the jugular. You ready?
Yeah.
What is your revenue stream?
Our revenue stream is to sell to municipalities, and we are onboarding a municipality as we speak, as I said, with 130,000 inhabitants. And it's a paying pilot already, adding traction with paying NGOs, and they are providing free content to us, and as well as directing traffic from their platforms to our platform. And we are also getting paid to build tech modules for the NGOs open in our app.
Thank you for that answer. Now there's a follow-up one to that. There's a follow-up question. And can you expand even a little bit more on the business model? Talk business
on the
model
business
to me,
model?
please. Well, yeah, expand on it a little bit.
Yeah, sure. It's a freemium model, and it's at a low cost to be below the procurement level because of it's the same in the whole EU, and that's to avoid the long sales cycles. As you all know, that our investors, it's very long sales cycles for governments, but we're going to avoid that. And we also have a premium model that is statistics and analytics for municipalities and governments. And that is to forecast rising levels of violence to save them money.
Thank you for that. I am also managing the Q&A. Yours is definitely citing quite a few questions. Normally, the fact of having a lot of questions is a good sign, but some of them are tough. So Sophie, be ready to hit the ball. All right, I'm following up on the next one. So our dear friend Antonio is saying something that's, hey, he supports the idea very much. All right, so that's bravi, I believe, or bravo, if I got this right. He has a question about, well, the future of minorities, if I got this right. How do you collect data to predict violence at home? That's the first part of the question. How do you collect data to predict violence at home, Sophie? And then I'll follow up on that to start asking a different part of the question. Let's do it.
Yeah, since it's domestic violence, it's basically violence at home. So we are gathering data from the phones or from the website. And the victims actually enroll the data by themselves through forms. And they are allowing us to use that data to get the statistics and provide it to the municipalities. So it's not a data collection per se in that way that we are just stealing the data, but the victims are delivering us the data.
Understood. So that allows a certain opt-in. Now, there's another part of the question that has to do with algorithms, policy, and fairness. I don't know if you want to touch that because we have two more questions, of course, coming. But Antonia, I appreciate your question. I think the root part of it was answered, if I'm not mistaken. Let me know if it wasn't. I'll come back to it. But I would love to jump into the Q&A bit because we have two more questions waiting in line. Antonia, thank you, by the way. So Fabiola is asking, what are you testing with the first municipality? And could you please say more about the tool itself and its predictive power? So there's a twofold question, but ultimately, what are you testing with the first, paid pilot? Talk to us, Sophie.
Yeah, and with the paid pilots, we are going to look at what kind of data the municipalities actually want and need. And we're also going to collaborate with their, it's like security and different parts of the municipality to be able to analyze the data from multi-level sections. And you have to excuse me because English is not my first language. So if I'm not clear, just ask me again. And I would say, and the second question was?
All righty, one moment. The second part, can you say more about the tool itself and its predictive power? That's going to be the final question, because we're a little over time. You're getting a lot more. And I will ask you to look at the Q&A section and answer them yourself.
Of course.
There's another one waiting from the anonymous attendee about your go-to-market strategy. But for now, please tell me about the tool and its predictive power. That's the last one.
Yeah, since the victims are putting in the data by themselves, and it's very describable because we're using forms that we can also use in court. So we are looking at the statistics that are actually used in courts already. So then we can match the data gathered in their app and compare it to the documentation already existing from the court system. And we're also going to collaborate with universities to look at the measure points of data and what EU would want to look at. So we're very open to gather any kind of data that the governments would want to look at.
Sophie, I thank you very much. Tag, as they really say in your country. I would suggest to go back to the last question of the Q&A about the go-to-market strategy. Our next speaker, thank you for waiting a little bit, Ulrich. Ulrich, your team, I believe, if I got it correctly from the description, is that your team of co-founders connect the people based on education, their skills, and essentially jobs. And now you're looking for the marginalized elements of society, let's say refugees or people displaced due to circumstances. And so you want to help them out with a tool and connect them to the labor markets. But I'm very interested in what SkillLab is and what your product is. So your show, let's do the 3 minutes.
Thank you, Gleb. Can you confirm you can see my screen?
I can confirm that. And
excellent. Hello, everybody. So I'm Ulrich Schaff. I'm co-founder and managing director of SkillLab. And we developed over the last 2 years a tool that helps career services to empower job seekers. And the specific need we're addressing existed already prior to this crisis. We saw record numbers in job seekers that require career support to find a job. And this was due to automation, digitalization, and migration. And really due to this crisis, we saw these numbers explode. And we know that this is going to be a massive challenge for all labor markets around the world. And the difficult thing here and the problem is that if the job seeker loses their job due to an automation trend or to migration or virus, it's not just about matching that person to the next job with the exact same title. You have to completely reorient that individual on the labor market, and that's very expensive. So in Europe, by a public employment service, even the most basic service costs between 2,200 and 3,600 euros per job seeker. And that's where we come in. So as SkillLab, we sit between the employment service and the job seeker. And employment services, this can be public and private employment services, pay us per job seeker, and they invite job seekers to do the skill assessment, use our application, orientate themselves on the labor market through our application, but also share back the results with their personal career counselor for better results. And for the job seeker, here the core value proposition to them is that first and foremost, our app allows them to capture all of the skills and competencies acquired throughout their life. So our AI interviews people across 13,500 skills, and we capture everything. And then we take that skill set and match that to every single occupation and opportunity on the labor market and show individuals which careers they could pursue right now. We also help through the application people to get the jobs they want by then generating automatic skill-based job applications for each job and helping them to enroll in the education that upskills them specifically. For the employment service, the argument is much more monetarily. So it's really about reducing cost per job seeker in terms of counseling, addressing the earlier problem I mentioned, but also making it much more efficient to enroll new job seekers in the service and to effectively place people in jobs in education. And over the last 2 years, SkillUp really piloted and further rolled out this application with a lot of public and private employment services in Europe and beyond, mostly focusing on refugees and migrants, which won us a series of awards and a steady stream of revenue. But we're now at that point where we want to take our current 10-person team, massively scale that up, seek in a late seed round, and really bring our application to scale to help the millions of job seekers that need support post the medical crisis. Thanks, and I'm looking forward to the questions.
Ulrich, I believe it's Dankeschön.
Dankeschön von mir.
All right. My great-grandma was German, Großmutter war Deutsch, and my dad made me study German. So I had well, at least some level of it by 9th grade. So thanks for that. Now, I remind everybody that we have a Q&A feature and we have a chat, and this man is able to answer your questions. I'm going to buy you a little bit of time to think about those questions, and I'm going to go for the juggler, Ulrich. Are you ready to play ball with me?
Please, come.
All right. For how long have you been around? Let's start from that.
2 years ago. So we started
ago.
at the beginning of 2018.
2018. Have you received venture funding of any kind or angel investment?
No, we completely bootstrapped our solution through revenue and winning awards, accumulating roughly 1.5 million.
Understood. Now you mentioned the magical R word, revenue.
Yeah.
Now, although I'm privy to the revenue information, I'm only one of the 2 people because it's highly sensitive information, and I've been keeping under wraps because I wanted to leave it as a choice to you guys whether you want to talk about it or not. What is your month-on-month revenue growth right now?
So right now, we launched the application at full scale in April. That's roughly 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Through pilots in the last 12 months, we rank around 200,000 revenue. And we're expecting these numbers to grow rapidly. Right now is a weird moment because nobody signs contracts due to the current pandemic and the paralysis. But we, expect our revenue numbers to significantly increase over the next months and then exponentially accelerate in 2021.
I see. You took a good game, Ulrich. You took a good game. I see, yeah. I see. Can you tell me a little more about the tech behind it? Because I'm seeing some impressive names. You have Google I Awards, MIT. So you've been part of these events and you've been hacking away solutions. And I get awards are great, but tell me a little bit more about the tech that you developed, this matchmaking algorithm for job seekers, refugees, and so on. My question is unclear. Let me know.
No, very clear. So this was the first hackathon we participated in. Really enjoyed the experience. So there's 3 core components. One is a mobile application, standard app, written in React, progressive web app. So kind of very modern mobile app tech. Then the core piece is our AI that interviews users on their skills. So this really simulates an interview process, and it captures really on a granular level what somebody exactly did on a skill-by-skill basis for each job they had. And that's the piece that also caused Google, MIT, and all of these organizations to give us these awards and prizes. And the last part is really a standard kind of back-end, front-end software stack for the employment services to use.
Ulrich, dankeschön on this note, because we're a little delayed and I'm trying to catch up now. We're going to give over to your Finnish colleague, Juho, and Ulrich, dankeschön. The link to Ulrich's LinkedIn profile will be posted below. The breakout session link is also going to be added to it. Ulrich, Thank you very much for being a good sport and answering the questions. I appreciate it very much. So I'm looking forward where you guys are going to go. Yuho, in this sense, is an entrepreneur. He been involved in 2 finished projects, one with a few thousand people in his community, and another one is a consultancy with 20 people or so, specialist. He also is a single dad. And he's so far, based on my interactions with him, he's a very humble man from Oulu, if I got this right. And you definitely resemble all the lovely Finnish friends that I have, anything from Tampere to Helsinki. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about, well, Signet app and what you guys are all about. You have around 3 minutes, and I'm going to time you. Kiitos, and please.
Kiitos, Gleb. Fraud and loss of privacy are real issues online, and we aim to change that. I am Juho Jopperi, one of the founders and the head of R&D in Signet Digital from Oulu, Finland. My Signet story started from a Finnish Defence Forces experiment about using everyday equipment in crisis situations. One of the outcomes from that experiment was a proof of concept about using smartphones for secure communication, and Signet started from there. So the problem we are solving is how to keep remote communications confidential and how to be able to reliably verify somebody's identity remotely. And this is especially relevant now that COVID-19 has forced us to work more remotely, and people still want to use their convenient methods of communication like email and WhatsApp, though they are not secure enough for many things. For example, it's known that in Finnish government they use WhatsApp group on the top level, and WhatsApp is also used a lot in German government, but now they forbid it because of the privacy concerns. So those insufficiently secure methods are still used because the better methods are often too inconvenient or don't work well over organizational boundaries or are just so expensive. So our solution is a simple smartphone app. It tries to do one thing well. You make a digital handshake either locally via Bluetooth or over video conference, and then you can secure any documents, messages, photos, audio, or anything. And it's not a messaging app by itself, it just secures things, and you can then share them over any messaging app, email app, or for example, Dropbox found on your cell phone. It doesn't need any servers or infrastructure, so it's quite crisis safe also. The application is for Android and iOS. The Android version is in audit for governmental use. The iOS will be ready later this year. It utilizes the security hardware found on modern cell phones and implements a strong encryption. We target government and enterprise markets, and we are aiming to collect 400,000 euros of funding by the end of the year to take our next step. We are looking for a lead investor to help us scale internationally. We want to go international and further develop the app in the direction of digital identity proofs online.
Kiitos
Help
on
us
that
make
end.
communication secure again.
Thank you. Thank you, Kiitos Juho. Now, if we have questions in the chat, please drop them. If not, I'm going to ask you only one. Juho, the dreaded T question, the traction question.
Traction. We have pilots, but I guess that our market might be a bit small in Finland only, so we need to go international. But we do have pilot customers. Can you specify more?
Juho, I will explain the Finnish culture a little bit, and I love your cat, by the way, because I have a great love and fondness for cats. I absolutely adore them. So if you want me to be nice to you, just show me a cat and derails any nasty thoughts that I have. So I'm going to be nice to you, Juho, and I'm going to explain to everybody that Finns tend to be, well, they don't sell themselves very often. and they like to use understatement. Estonians are similar sometimes in that. They're kind of cousins, different cousins. So Juho, what I'm asking about is the potential essentially of your business, but I'm asking it from a standpoint of what you have done and achieved. I understand that security is extremely important, especially right now, because the news with Zoom and hacking and all of that. What I'm interested in is what is the potential of the business, what it could be, and drop your culture a little bit for now, right? Forget that you're from Oulu.
All right. So worldwide, I guess that this cybersecurity market is pretty large right now, and also the market for social communication is quite large, and we probably find our customers somewhere in that intersection of those two large markets. But first, we have to start from somewhere, and it has been easier for us to focus on the governmental and enterprise customers to get going.
Understood, Juho. Next time you're pitching, I want to definitely hear more of your pipeline, more of your ambition, Juho, because I know you care about security and secure communication, and the fact that your app can affect things like probably Messenger or WhatsApp and make it more secure, especially right now. Anything from potentially kids down to adults sharing very, mission critical information. I think this can have a massive impact. But Juho, you gotta let it know. And no cat is gonna save you if I'm gonna be asking you mean questions. All right? Kiitos. Kiitos. Juho's link and profile will be available below. Now, having said this, we have another founder. I believe he is from the Netherlands, if I'm not mistaken. Harm is gonna correct me on that. But what he definitely is, he's an experienced professional, 25 years in all things digital identity, essentially creating safe digital environments. And his company, in fact, although their pitch always needs a little bit of work and a little bit of tuning, and by a little bit, I mean quite a bit, but they have some very interesting deals in the pipeline and some really, really interesting conversations with airlines, if I'm not mistaken, airports, all of that. So I'm super excited to hear what you guys have cooked up for us. Harm, it's your show. Let's do 4 minutes or so.
Do you see the screen?
We can't see you, right? We can see you projected to us, but you're currently not sharing your PDF. Now you are. And we currently see a very open gate, so it's your show. Let's do it.
Thank you and welcome. Welcome in my humble home. I'm stuck here for already 3 months now because of the Intelligent Dutch lockdown. So let's reopen the skies and save lives. I really miss my great team of identity experts all over the world, from Thailand and Dubai. And yes, I'm Dutch, so I love to travel. As you can see in the back, there are my souvenirs from Curaçao. It's the famous Emma Bridge. And also you will see the Dutch famous KLM houses of Delft Blue. So our last trip, I remember, was to Ghana. That was our lives, because our passion is to really support the most vulnerable countries with digital identity, financial inclusion. 90% of the world population is now living in countries with travel restrictions. 400 billion is the economic impact on the airlines industry. Staggering numbers. 900 billion is the economic impact in the US alone. So how can we get back to the skies? We need to find new ways to travel. And it's really about the confidence in flying. We need to restore that again. And we need to share our data, our sensitive data, our location data, our health certificates, our COVID-19 status across borders. But we need to keep our privacy. And also we are afraid touching surfaces, right? Passports while traveling. So now, how can we realize that? So I think, like the famous bridge in Curaçao, we need to build bridges. So firstly, air bridges to make possible safe traveling between countries again through the air. So the platform, it's not an app, need to be able to and allow free flow of travelers, not just data. And it needs to be end-to-end, before booking, at boarding, through the gates, in the plane, at arrival. But still, privacy is the main concern to share sensitive data across borders. So now, Open Gate strikes the balance between the privacy and health and safety and restores confidence in flying again. The way we do that is by touchless passport verification and also biometric authentication. So now you don't need to touch the passports again, and you can travel without any paperwork. So the business model is simple. It has been tested and it's membership-based or a SaaS-based fee per transaction or per user. So it's not an app, it's an ecosystem for trustworthy data flow of travelers, and data sharing. This is Akudu. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer of Akudu. My friend Mohamed Fakiri, Thomas Linke are the founders. And we want to make it possible. So nobody can build these trustworthy digital air bridges by themselves.
Harm,
we need to collaborate between the private sector.
Harm. We're done.
Public sector.
We're done, Harm. All right. That was 3:30 or 5 or so. You're over time. I have to cut it now. All right.
Okay.
We are a bit delayed, and I have to transition to the breakout session very, very rapidly, but I will allow the Q&A. So you want to clarify something? We're going to transition to it. Now let's check out whether we have questions in the chat. If you don't, I'm going to ask you. Now, you've spoken quite a bit about the surfaces, the ability to kind of secure, but man, in a nutshell, man, what is the product? Help us out. What is the product?
The product, it's a platform that helps airlines and also health and safety organizations globally to share data.
What kind of data?
It's the health certificates, it's the COVID-19 questions that you need to make clear. It's also the policies that are required at the destination when you arrive. So everything will be transparent for the user and in control by the user.
Understood. And what sort of partnerships are currently looking at in terms of the pipeline? Help us understand the potential traction of this.
Yes, so we see this as a global ecosystem of trustworthy data sharing. So the airline industry is involved, but also country levels. We are now seeing that countries are trying to negotiate on safe traveling between them. So how make that possible? We can support that. So public sector, private sector, airlines industry, and the travel industry is our ecosystem.
Understood. Do you have any revenue right now?
Yes, we have. So we have been building on top of our existing identity management and digital ID services, mainly from the Middle East and Africa, and we have a global presence. So yes.
Understood. Are we talking single digits or beyond? Or like beyond. I mean, 6 digits, 5 digits, or
6 digits it is, yes.
Understood. So that sounds pretty promising. We have a question from the chat that I'm going to transition to. Harm, you've been so far a very good sport. So thank you. How do you say tag in Dutch? Saying thank you?
Yeah, dankjewel.
All right, one moment. So the 2 questions that Antonio has: how to cope with the blockchain limits of 5,000 transactions per second if you have to cope with millions of travelers. So I think he's testing the scalability of your system, if I got this right, Antonio.
Sure.
He's trying to see the volume transactions and how does the blockchain tech handle that. That's the
thank you for the question. It's a good one. And scalability is one of our core design requirements. We come from a telco background and financial grade background. So we work with global organizations to support the sustainable development goals like from the World Bank. So our platform is not a it's not a cryptocurrency. It's not a processing service that you have limitations in scalability. This is just about hashing and storing that in a trustworthy way and sharing them in a trustworthy way. So this is scalable to millions and billions.
Understood. And the follow-up question from that, I think you can answer with a link potentially, but it has to do, where could Antonia and others find the open source repository for this software? You can answer this directly in the chat. What I would invite everyone to do, Harm, Todd, thank you very much for engaging and being so patient and being a good sport about it. So I thank you very much.
Thank you.
The link to Harm's profile, both on LinkedIn and the breakout session, is available below. Now, we are going to transition towards the very end of this particular domain. And before we transition to digital finance, you guys get to network, get to hang out. I mean, reach out directly in LinkedIn, whatever floats your boat. But we will be back in around 16 minutes or so. Let's do it, guys. You've been a lovely audience, also in Facebook Live. So if there's some questions there, founders, go address them, go comment, all of that. Thank you. I'll see you soon. Thank you very much. Welcome. Hello. If you're seeing this and listening to my voice, that means you got to the part of digital finance of our demo day. Now, our Ernst & Young speaker unfortunately had to do other business-related elements, so he will not be open this particular session. Instead, I'm going to very quickly do a recap and transition to Vytautas, our next presenter, the very experienced founder, which you will hear more about a bit later. My name, once again, is Gleb. I'm a pitch coach, and I've been emceeing this event, and I'm responsible for a lovely group of people helping bring this event to you, both live on Facebook and in Zoom, and all the questions that you're getting in all the sessions you've been having. What I want to do, though, is mention that Vytautas, our next speaker, is, well, he's pretty experienced in finance, would be one way of putting it. Another way is that he has a master's from Cambridge University, specifically in the field. And soon after that, he started an exchange, a currency exchange, if I'm not mistaken, and Spectra Coin. That particular exchange got 1 million registered users. Now, Vytautas is doing pretty well, yet he has something up his sleeve, something new, something special that he and his team have cooked up, and I'm very interested. Now, Vytautas originally is based in Lithuania. He's coming out of Lithuania, and that country has been punching above its weight when it comes down to fintechs, things like TransferGo, for instance, or the business that Vytautas is running. So there's some really exciting stuff happening there, and I'm very interested to hear the pitch that Vytautas is going to deliver. Vytautas, let's do a very quick check. I see the slides are functional. Are we able to see your video feed? Yes, indeed we can.
Hi.
Very good. The vocals work. I can hear you. It's not too quiet. You're on full screen, and we are ready when you are ready.
Okay,
Please.
let's do it. So, hi everyone, I am Vytautas, and today I'd like to present my team's Bankera's entry to the EU versus virus hackathon. It's more or less development on top of our payment platform. So we want to offer the loans to the small and medium enterprises. We got inspired for this idea because we saw that the lockdown to fight the COVID-19 pandemic has created a risk for actually nearly a half of the SMEs not to survive over the following months. And that most is because of the liquidity problems, because they don't have money to pay the suppliers. And what is more scaring is actually that this widespread collapse of the SMEs could affect their suppliers and actually have a negative impact for the whole economy. So by not spotting that the suppliers actually in the interest for the SMEs to survive, but usually they cannot provide them the credit because they lack the liquidity, we proposed actually a traditional business loan with a twist, which is the double guarantee, which means that not only the borrower, the SME, but also the supplier is guaranteeing for the loan, which reduces the risk for the financial institution, in this case, Bankera. So we are more willing to lend the money out and help the business to survive. It also has another features such as postponed principal repayment, sometimes even after the lockdown. Also because the both parties of a transaction are involved, we can get a better view of the situation of a transaction. And also it would have like a specific COVID-19 risk premium, which would be reassessed after the lockdown is over. And in general, it works in the simple way as a traditional loan. Just the other part is that actually both business partners are involved in the process to provide the guarantee as well as more information. And we are not a startup, we are a mature company, and we have like everything in place to deliver it quickly. And now we are working to deliver it in the mid-June. We have a necessary infrastructure, financial license, the team, and 7 years of experience. And we have a well-balanced team because even our co-founders, we are in the process and we are pushing this forward. We also have a finance guys, legal team, IT, and PR and design to make it happen and make it happen soon. So what is most important is what we have done since the hackathon. So we already launched the module in the test environment. So we are already testing it. We prepared the legal part to have a contracts and relative documents supporting it. We developed a questionnaire to start onboarding of our clients. And we also adding the Bankera business loans page to our main website to adapt on top of all offerings. So our timeline for the next months ahead to be live is actually by the end of this month. We are actually still building the awareness and trying to get the fast applications. We're expecting to be live by the late June. By mid-June, we expect to be live. And then afterwards, we would like to scale to all the EU. We are not looking for financing at the moment. We are just looking for outreach to spread the word about our product to the SMEs and get them more traction in the short term. So I'd like to thank you for your time.
Vytautas, ačiū. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
No.
Any questions?
Now we are going to transition to the Q&A bit, and I'm going to kick it off, Vytautas, and the Q&A is going to trickle in, most likely. Now, you are an established business with, well, your users, and this is a new product in your offering. Did I understand this correctly?
It's a new feature in our existing product, which is Bankera. So we have Bankera as a payment platform, so we operate the current accounts with payment accounts, but we still haven't offered the lending product for the traditional businesses. We have like another lending product in our portfolio, and this one is more about our traditional entrance to the traditional lending business from our side. So we use a hackathon as an opportunity to speed up the processes, because we had this in our agenda, but was not related to the to the current situation. So we saw it as an opportunity and also as a social responsibility to deliver it as quick as possible. And we used the hackathon kind of a team building exercise, as well as to have a tighter deadlines to deliver it. So we benefited a lot from the hackathon in that sense. So it was kind of external pressure, additional pressure.
Understood. Now, how big potentially could this new offering be? I mean, yes, you had this sprint, this forced hackathon sprint for your team, but very interesting to see what the result of that is, and where you see that result be, leading to. I'm very, very interested in that. Can we hear a little bit more about that while I'm checking out the chat? Vytautas, thank you. Vytautas, did you get my question?
Oh, yeah, I got your question. So the answer actually would be that I see a huge potential, because mainly we are starting to lend in Lithuania, which is our local market, where we have like a better knowledge about businesses and we can assess the risk better. And in our country, we have an issue that like the SMEs are actually underfunded, because the banks are not willing to offer the loans to their small businesses. That's why we have emerging the alternative finance sector, where the non-financial companies are doing the factoring, invoice financing, and SME financing. So that's why I see the potential even despite the corona. And because I think on the upcoming like financial stressful situation, I think there's going to be more businesses in need for the financing. And therefore, I think there's going to be more opportunities. And I think it's a good time to enter the market with clean portfolio and try to pick up, the best borrowers in the market who will survive afterwards. So it's like kind of buying in the cheap market. So that's why I see a good timing and a good potential, because the market itself doesn't have like a lot of options for the SME financing, except from alternative financial institutions. As well, like I think the timing is good because there are more businesses in the need for that.
It seems you're in alternative financing space where the banks occasionally are a little more risk averse and not giving it out. Maybe I'm wrong at this. What I want to understand is, what is the potential exposure to defaults in this particular context? Help me understand a little bit.
I think the exposure is pretty big, but I think because we already have this risk is not anymore a black swan, because this risk is can be not probably calculated, but at least included in the risk profile, because we already have a lockdown. It's not something coming new. So that's why I think like we are in a better position instead of starting, let's say, 4 months ago, before when the lockdown was even not expected. So I think like the risk of defaults is high, but I think there's potential to calculate it, as well as that's why we're offering the double guarantee, so we can diversify our risk by not only taking the risk of a borrower, but also of its supplier. So in that case, suppliers are usually bigger and stronger financially, and also when like we're kind of betting not on the one player to default, but actually we're betting on all the supply chain to default. And I don't think like that the whole economy would crash completely. So we're trying to spread our risk over supply chain, and then like so we motivate the supply chain itself to take more risk over its individual part, and then like everyone wins in that case. Because even suppliers are should not be interested in their buyers and their retailers, resellers to default, because later on they'll still need their partners to find the new ones and so on. It's going to be more expensive. And
I'll take that.
even now we will get a loss.
Thank you. You gave a pretty detailed answer. As a final question, if I got this right, the potential funding round in the future is to originate more loans. Did I understand this correctly?
Yes.
And if you could give me an idea or at least a glimpse, how would that impact the amount of originations that you guys produce, and at least the rate of it? If you don't have the real nominal numbers, give me an idea and which time span. So let's say you raise an additional, I know, 10 mil or something like this. I don't know exactly, don't know, but help me out to understand the period. How fast will they grow?
So we expect actually to build our portfolio of about probably 5-10 million from our own capital within, let's say, 6-12 months, around a year. And then later on, we will be looking for the additional financing, either to refinance the existing portfolio as kind of a selling the portfolio as a SPV, or just getting a new financing to issue the new loans. So our time horizon is probably half a year, 1 year. And then we are looking actually at something around 5-10 million for external financing afterwards.
Thank you. That gives at least some timeline and some indication, which is a very good answer. Vytautas, you came very much prepared. You gave clean answers, and keep in mind, this is also being transmitted on Facebook Live, and it's also potentially going to be shared with follow-up investors, just letting you know. And obviously the ones who are listening to you live right now. Vytautas, Ačiū, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to visiting your country. We are in a travel bubble now. We can travel between the Baltic states. I'm very happy to hear that. Now, Vytautas, thank you very much. We are done in the Q&A session, and we're transitioning to your colleague, but from insurance. He's in the digital finance category, but he has 25 years of working in the field in France and Italy a little bit. Thank you very much. Now, very good. Yuri. Now, Yuri, you have, in fact, a little bit of a Ukrainian in you, but ultimately, you very much sound like a Frenchman with the same vigor and excitement about helping the small and medium-sized businesses in France, especially right now, to get an alternative insurance product, if I got this right. Although you might not call it insurance, you might call it protection, but you're still in InsurTech. Yuri, are you able to share your presentation with us right now? You're currently muted and we cannot hear you, Yuri. We can see you, and now potentially we can hear you. Your job and your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to pitch for 3 minutes. Your show. Let's do it.
Good afternoon. I'm Yuri. I'm co-founder of Datafolio, a digital platform for mobility risk prevention and protection. Assume I am an entrepreneur, okay? I own a wine shop. I could as well be a salaried person. The COVID-19 crisis could get me ill because of lack of prevention, with no safety net to protect me and my family. And now, no insurer would provide me with a proper cover at a decent price. I foresee the consequences if I get hospitalized, admitted in ICU, not to mention worse. My business could collapse. I don't sleep that well. I lose confidence, and that's for business. Those guys from Datafolio, they solve my confidence issue with this. First, a prevention app showing me where is it safe to shop and travel. Second, an in-app protection for COVID-19, the safety net I miss if I get hospitalized. And third, a solidarity model, a peer-to-peer platform, no middleman, direct payment to my peers only if they get sick. If you feel that our wine shop owner is ready to adhere, you will prove right. Our survey shows strong interest across the population in Italy and a real potential for self-employed in France. We just signed our first distribution contract for our platform with the first cluster of 1,000 users to test our services on a single Italian region. And we have traction with payment platforms in Italy and France. Like travel insurance is included when you use your Visa card, COVID protection can also be included. We plan to use the COVID product as a honeypot to swiftly build an audience of more than 1.5 million users in Italy, France, and Spain. We anticipate revenues of 9 million euro with a 30% EBITDA for that product only by 2023. But the real advantage is becoming the trusted provider of peace of mind to an engaged community of self-starters. It will enable us to sell many other products for the years to come. To build this up, we are a team of seasoned professionals, embracing business dev, operations, product, data science, and tech, shouldered by a strong team of senior advisors. To launch D3P on our portfolio platform in Italy on 1st of October, we are seeking an investment of 750,000 euro, plus $500,000 for each new market to be deployed afterwards. Thanks and be safe.
Thank you very much, Yuri. Merci beaucoup. Let's quickly check. Understood. Yuri, now you're a pretty experienced pro. You, if I got this right, currently you have investment already locked in.
Yes.
And I would love to see where the future is looking like in the next quarter for you, especially right now. What's your momentum looking like?
The next quarter for us is looking like the first billing of our platform. So we raised capital early February, and in 4 months' time, we were able to develop the first elements of our platform, which will be billed for the first time in July out of that contract we signed just a week ago.
All right, so congrats on the contract that you signed a week ago. This is very good. In the context of people who maybe have never worked in insurance. So the SME owner, let's say, has the wine business right now in France.
The wine business?
Well, let's say you're a shopkeeper or all that. And I'm trying to get an idea of what sort of product do you offer them?
Well, basically, if I'm the wine shop owner, when the lockdown was decided, the first thing I decided to do is close my shop because expenses were too high and no revenues. And I was really wondering, I was really worried, not only by the close of the shop, but by my inability to be able to reopen because I get sick myself. And if I get sick myself, not only I will have a loss of revenues, but I will have a loss potential of capacity of reopening. Okay, so
what's the product, man? What's the product?
What we offer is the solution for you in terms of cash in order to take this period when you are hospitalized in order to be able for you to reopen very fast afterwards. And most important, give you the confidence in your ability to do so.
So cash, did I get this right?
Indemnization.
And for people who have never worked insurance, indemnization means?
Like a lump sum of 3,000, 4,000 euro to cover the number of days you've been away in hospitalization or the number of days you need to recover after hospitalization if you went in ICU.
And what do you reckon the market size for this is?
The market size is very significant. It's like in Italy, about 75% of the self-employed shopkeepers, craftsmen, entrepreneurs are not covered and they need protection. And we saw that in our survey.
Yuri, merci beaucoup for this. You gave a pretty good overview. Your context will be listed below. Your LinkedIn profile. This particular section, the pitch deck, will be potentially shared and reached out. So thank you for this. This brings us to our next speaker. Now, his name is Tarek. Now, thank you, Yuri. We're done in this particular section. Thank you very much. Now, Tarek is a man who collects boarding passes, and he has, I believe, over 190 of them. Close to 800 different boarding passes all around the world. So he's been traveling pretty heavily. Now, he has also gone through at least 10 different demo days in the recent, well, how should it be, in recent history. Now, your particular pitch right now is a fundraising one because you are currently, well, it's a roadshow and you're getting commitments for a round. I'm looking forward to hearing more about Point Checkout and a bit about your background. Tarek, it's your show. Time.
Yes,
3
I'm
minutes.
here.
Let's do it.
Hey, everybody. First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity. So Point Checkout is based in the Netherlands and UAE. This is where I'm stuck right now. Let me first start with the team. So we are a rockstar team working on a fourth startup so far. We've raised over 2 million to date. Got experience with Rocket Internet, BlackRock, Merrill Lynch. So yes, given that we have some experience, Point Checkout was the winner of the challenge for distributing money fast. So we're building payment infrastructure for the digital 2.0. We got several products, but let me focus on the one that actually matters for this challenge. It's what we call the disposable digital wallet, right? So if we are to distribute money fast, for our system and database, the municipality or the country, Minister of Finance, for example, ministry, would put in the eligible citizen data into our database, and then we would instantly issue an array of digital wallets that's distributed to the citizens by chatbots. So imagine I'm Mr. Ben. Mr. Ben is eligible for 280 euros as assistance. So basically, I'm instantly chatting with it. Once I verify my details, I can issue right then and there the wallet for them that could also be sent over email, for example, which is a QR wallet, which is also for security reasons, obviously could be blockchain backed. How do I redeem that? Once I have it, it's mine. So I can either redeem it at ATM with the partner banks, for example. You could use agents. Think about how Western Union is spread around in different places, for example, or with direct merchants that are able to do a redemption right there. Imagine I'm just saying, you could use this only for food, rice, bread, and so on and so forth. The value is extremely clear because you have a much faster distribution, up to 90%. You save almost 10 times on the cost because it's completely digital itself and claimed by the citizens. And it's obviously very secure and transparent because you can see every single transaction and how it's being used. Our business model, we have a setup fee usually and a fee per wallet issued, which could eventually also change into a monthly fee for obviously something that's recurring. Think if we're giving aid, for example, for refugees, or if we're giving aid for unemployment benefits, which is coming back. So this is already live. Actually, our first application is using gift cards for restaurants. This we launched during the COVID pandemic here to support UAE restaurants, which is exactly the same, just on a different security layer. We've launched thousands of wallets so far. The good thing about the digital wallet is that you can redeem it more than once. If you have 100, you can do 50 today and 50 tomorrow. And it's fully managed by the merchants. And it just simply is a simple QR code. As a company, we are backed by Startup Bootcamp and 500 startups with a few VCs as well. We've raised over 600,000 euros to date. We have revenues coming in. We've been named by Forbes as a top 20 fintech, Money 2020, exactly the same as well. So we have some experience going on. Our next steps here is we're looking for partnerships for city/country as a pilot for the distribution of aid, together with a partnership with a payment provider. Could be the Adyen, could be a bank, for example. And we're also raising a second series of 350,000 euros for implementation of the wallet technology, rollout rather, and for growth.
Tarek, thank you very much. For the future, I suggest to trim maybe 15 seconds at the very least from your pitch. Just letting you know. That's all good. So I'm being nice to you, man. I'm being nice to you. Think of it as the tax I pay for your experience. But having said this, I apologize once again.
I said, I'll send you a wallet with 15 euros on it.
Now, well, I'm going to ask a question, and there's one definitely coming up in the chat, but first I would like to ask a few more. Now, you seem like a pretty experienced team, Merrill Lynch, right? So pretty good names. And I think, did you mention Rocket Internet?
Yes, I'm ex-Rocket.
Ex-Rocket, understood. And Rocket is known for, how should I put this, knowing quite a bit of scouting for business models and
yes,
all about executing those business models in various markets.
Yes.
You know, partnering the market. And so you seem a pretty experienced man. What I would like to understand, though, is what is your core driver as a founder for this business?
Well, absolutely. I mean, first of all, we are working in the world of payment. First of all, it's on one hand a growing industry as well, but I've also worked across different industries myself. So on one hand, the number one driver is entrepreneurship, creating new innovations and spreading it out there, but also finding the specific gaps that are very scalable in the market is what excites me and the team as well.
And for people who maybe, well, it's been a long day, right? They might miss out on a few things. In a very basic way, man.
Yeah.
What does your product do? For people who maybe didn't catch that, just to be clear.
Absolutely. So normally, if you want to give a lot of people aid very, very quickly, you're either doing it through digital cards, go get a card or send it to your bank account. It's just not fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
I got fired. I have no income. I need money with me within 1-2 days, maybe 2 weeks maximum. So we enable you to get that money directly from whoever is funding and supporting in a very, very easy way.
And do you have a proprietary technological solution for this, a matchmaking algorithm or something like this?
Absolutely. Well, it's more that it's a centralized API that can basically roll out the digital vouchers, what we're calling them, or digital wallets as well, in basically, within minutes.
And what is the maximum amount of transactions you can support with your blockchain platform? This is a question from our particular viewers. So what is the maximum amount of transactions you have? Or you can
today, I mean, we have not really reached the maximum itself. We believe, because they're not happening all instantly at the same time. So depending on how we expand with some of the partners, because we're using different partners for the blockchain as well. But I can imagine we could be in the millions.
You could be in the millions
of transactions, yes.
Tarek, you talk a good game. You definitely have the pedigree from, well, the financial companies. I'm trying to figure out right now is, okay, you're in UAE or sort of, not sure exactly, right? But
yes, it's a Dutch company. I'm stuck in Dubai.
Excuse me?
I said, I am stuck in Dubai right now, yes.
Dubai, right, understood. Now, where do you want this company to be fundamentally? Let's talk about 6 months. Let's not talk about hypothetical 5 years, but next 6 months. Talk to me, man, once again.
So, I mean, right now we have, since we're in the online payment world, I mean, we're having almost 100% month-to-month growth, which is amazing. So in the next 6 months, by the end of the year, I believe we'll be in a very, very good position in terms of the growth of revenue that we have. And hopefully with getting together with some of the partners for this as well, we're able to implement the wallets across different places in Europe. And I be able to come back and tell you, we distributed 8 to 10 million citizens.
8 to 10 million citizens. You would like to go back in at least 6 months, and that's your particular target, if I got this right?
Yes,
and
that would be
currently you're seeing 100% month-on-month growth. I understand this correctly?
Yes, but that is in our overall payment business in itself, yes.
100% month-on-month, not too shabby, my dear friend, not too shabby. If you are able to rely more, this is your opportunity, but I'm leaving it up to you and further conversations. Now,
yes, absolutely. Looking forward to that.
Understood. Now, guys, thank you very much. We're towards the very tail end of our lovely demo day. Tarek, thank you for contributing and doing a small, fast pitch. Next time, I'd suggest to slow down a little bit. Several of the founders here are smooth talkers. They're super rapid, super fast. An occasional pause will allow people to catch up, especially towards the end of the day. Now, our next speaker is a Finnish man. This is a second Finnish presenter, if I'm not mistaken. Now, Jari, if I'm pronouncing the name correctly, once again, all right, Jari indeed. Now, Jari is a serial entrepreneur, right? I believe he has gone for at least 13 ventures, if my memory serves me right. And he, in fact, had 2 exits. Now, he's hey, Jari. Now, he is an experienced founder, and he, in the same time, combines the topic of digital finance and, at the same time, a certain topic of, well, making an impact. So it's a very unique combination of impact and an investment case. Now, Jari, it's your show. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Are you able to show slides? Will you be showing slides?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Now, kiitos, Jari, and olku hyvä. Let's do it.
Hyvä. Thank you. All right. Guys, last but not least, my name is Jari Alaruona. I'm CEO and co-founder of Iron Sigma. We're the team behind Smartphones for Good. It's a service with which we can use used smartphones to fight coronavirus. We in the EU, we have about 700 million smartphones in our drawers, and only 30% of them are either recycled or traded in. And at the same time, in Africa, 300 million adults go without a smartphone. And all these applications that we've been hearing today, they need basically internet and smartphone in order to be usable. And that's what we want to enable for everybody in Africa as well. So it's pretty easy. You go and donate your old phone through us, and we will help a female African entrepreneur to get her first smartphone. We will make it in a way that you feel safe about donating your phone for a good cause. You will feel good and accomplished. Now, we've done some surveys on this, and we know that the donor wants transparency. And in the last few weeks, we already have achieved onboarding in Cameroon of the first 2 women entrepreneurs. Our solution is to donate your phone easily for a good cost. We will grade the phones, we will erase any data, personal data on them, and then we will sell or send them to empower women African entrepreneurs, because they are part of their societies, caretakers, mothers, health workers, and farmers. You might ask if this is a charity. This is actually a business for good. So we lease smartphones on fair terms. And our customers, through what they are working with us, will earn a credit history. And that is very empowering. And in addition, we believe that if we were giving away phones for free, they would be a just target for profiteering. We just didn't appear from nowhere. We've been around for some time as a software platform for our partners, big partners in Africa, where we have already enabled almost 1 million euros worth of money flow through to smartphone loans to 7,000 people. We work with big brands. We work with smaller brands. We have an amazing team of financiers, advisors on board already today. So basically, to wrap it up, we're a place where you can donate your smartphone, build trust with women, enable them to buy a leased smartphone through us, empower them with the good content, and reward them with the credit history. And that way we will create a positive cycle of business and revenues. We're serial. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and my co-founding team, we've been together in different businesses already for more than a decade. We're here to raise, help us raise a little bit of funding in order so that we can actually launch this new business model and move up higher in the value chain. So if you're in it as an investor, talk to me. If you're in it as a donor, talk to me. That's it.
Kiitos, Jari. Kiitos.
Kiitos. The amazing team is here.
And I'm glad to see that you guys worked together for 10 years. I'm going to ask you a few questions to kick it off, and our dear members of the audience, I suggest to think of a few good ones. Now, Jari, how old is your business? I'm going to go for the basic stats.
So we started 3.5 years ago, and then we built technology that basically enables us to score consumers, onboard people, and create collateral. And then we went live in 2017, and the first sort of a big batch of loans for the 7,000 loans was done end of last year. So now we know basically how people behave in terms of their payment behavior. This is in Nigeria.
Tell me a little bit more about what you learned during that journey. So 2.5 years, quite a duration. And I understand that the learning experience in this particular market where credit histories have to be built up from the ground is a very unique learning opportunity. By unique learning opportunity, I mean, sometimes you get the data, but it takes you a bit of money to get it, or quite a bit of time. So
yes, it takes quite a bit of time.
We're interested.
Yeah, and that's why we are here now, because we know what it takes, and according to what we learned, is that our partners are actually making extremely good profits in their second year of after they've onboarded the customers. There are some defaults, of course, as in any business, but we believe that with this sort of our new model, we can even lower the default even further. And as we now see it, we want to move closer to this space, higher up in the value chain. So instead of being a software platform, we can actually be looking at money.
Get money. I like the visual, man. I like the visual. 3.5 years, quite a bit of learning, quite a bit of data. Your partners are making money. If you would have to describe the product to, let's say, yourself 3.5 years ago, that you're building or currently executing on now,
Yeah.
how would you describe this to yourself 3.5 years ago? What is the product that you're engaged with right now?
So 3.5 years ago, we were all about just enabling people to get finance. In the past, years now, we learned basically, what it's like to really deploy this stuff in Africa. And as we're doing it, eventually what this is all about is trust. Once you know somebody's payment behavior on a given service, you can actually trust him, her with a rental apartment, solar powered charging or whatever, even car finance. So it's about credit history, it's about trust history, it's about data in the long run.
So this is what you would tell yourself. Hey, this is about data in the long run. Will you become some sort of, consumer finance company for electronics or?
I think we're going to be the fair finance guys. So we're the guys to whom everybody else turns you down. You're the ones. We're the ones you can talk to. So I've been an entrepreneur for such a long time, and I've been denied access to money so many times and credit. But I really believe that if I can trust you, Gleb, I'll give you 10K and trust you pay back.
Well, trust-based financing.
Yeah.
In Africa.
Yeah.
That requires a special kind of impact investor, potentially, if I understood correctly. Or looking for.
The platform.
Excuse me?
That's why we're also building the Smartphones for Good platform.
Smartphones for Good. So if you could describe what would be the good partners for you at this stage in regards to financing?
So right now, we already have we're in the process of onboarding a very big Spanish company. They will donate 5,000 phones through us. So of course we're ready to take phone donations from corporates, and then of course we're looking for working capital as well. But it's risk capital, so it has to be with some special terms.
Understood. Now we have a question being asked. Nice company for impact investors, period. Could you elaborate on your impact metrics? Yeti.
So yes,
metrics.
That's a beautiful question coming probably from somebody very, very versed in impact space. So we calculate our impact by the number of families and communities that we empower in the digital and financial world. So that's pretty much the key number. We can of course look at the amount of the volume of loans that go through us as well. But we really want to focus on the amount of people that we empower. That's a key driver for us. And of course,
so families and people.
Families.
Kitos, on this note, thank you, Otto, for asking this.
All right.
I invite everybody. Now, some of you are already asking about the breakout session links. Oh, representing. So will I see. Now, I do not have an Estonian flag, nor do I have any form of mixed nationality flag, but I would kindly suggest to get in touch in the breakout sessions or during the main one, because this particular part of digital finance is over. We got to hear everything from consumer loans down to helping SMEs stay in business and keep growing and providing financing in that regard. So very much a useful tool, specifically when it comes down to business continuity. On this note, I wish you happy networking. We will be having in around, I believe, 20 minutes, a organizational summary of all this lovely event. I remind everybody that this particular event is the kickoff, a very efficient, really fast kickoff for the Matchathon. And the Matchathon has quite a few impressive tools, like Converve, where many of you have already added information, including your pitch decks, including potentially your videos. Hopefully they've enabled the feature, and you will be able to connect anything from corporations to academia and potentially investors. But now, what our team is currently working on at the demo day is creating a bit of a bundle, creating a bit of an information pack to a select group of investors. Now, Rina Chateau and Maxime are taking the lead on this, and we will be hearing from us shortly. So we will be doing our best to get the word out to our selected group. But we will need your pitch decks, so please pay attention to that. For now, happy networking. Potentially, I'll see you soon. Guys, let's do it. Start networking. Thank you very much for listening.